Membership and Membership Development Call. This is Jennifer Ryan, and we're partnering on this presentation with Rebecca Budnick. And we'll talk to you about some of the topics in this domain. An overview, some practice questions, discussion as all have questions. And there's some resources to share, and then we'll just talk about the next call. So the domain has 4 areas. With, I believe it was 10 to 12% of the exam. Member relations and membership recruitment and retention. And then ethics and standard setting. A reminder to us all every day, SPIE and work, and plan, implement, evaluate, legal, ethical, responsible, and practical. This pops up all over the place in thinking like CSE. Also is structured decision making, helicopter view as you've seen in some other presentations, and the CSE always being alert for managing risk. And so on this first topic, member relations, the 2 areas are orientation and engagement. We want to orient the members. We want to engage all our members as much as we can. We want to welcome them. We want to involve them. We want to encourage them to the extent they wish to be in those. So many ways to do it through chapters, other departments, committee activities, leadership activities, some nuances perhaps to your own association, such as writing or editing publications, much more. Always consider junior professionals or leaders of tomorrow in what we do. And make it easy for members to volunteer. Ongoing versus project volunteerism, which does pop up, I think, in the CPA book, and I know ASAP does it. The sort of traditional, conventional, join a committee which meets all through the year versus project volunteerism. And always recognize and thank your volunteers. And the number of engagement is the more likely to read it. Volunteering, again, has a process to recruit. I've worked in 3 associations. They all have very different processes for recruiting volunteers, but whatever the culture is or whatever you think needs to be. Also, very commonly, what do you need from me is what I search for volunteers. So orient them, let them know what the obligation is. Again, recognize and thank them, provide adequate support. At my association, there's certainly goals we set every year. I haven't always seen it that way. The committee goals, what staff will support the committee, what else we provide committee, maybe board members with liability or D&O insurance, and who has what role. That's with volunteer, it's the balance, partnering together to meet your goals. So orient and recognize the volunteers. Member engagement model. There was a great picture in the Membership Essentials book. I wasn't going to try to recreate it, and I couldn't find a blue copy to put on here, but it's a wheel. And these are the 8 areas that are in that member engagement model. Segment your members, have insight into their needs, what you offer them, what resources, services you offer your members, what affinity programs do you offer to round out number 3 resources and services. Look at the communications, internal and external, that you have with members. Connections, you want them to feel that this is how they want to be affiliated. Advisory, it's advancing a new member to an engaged member and then being an advocate or ambassador. And community ties in a bit to number 5, members finding community and connection within your association. All of this in that image of food for what's mentioned above as a relevant value for members. Engage members and provide value. Diversity comes up a lot more reading. Diversity is kind of takes on a new definition versus how many of us might have thought of it in the past. It's a reality in business organization. It's a very key part. The right thing to do. We want to break it, and it's not just race and ethnicity, it's viewpoints, perspectives, culture, beliefs. Are we accepting and including all of those, especially if you have international components to your membership? The idea of adopting a diversity statement and then not just having it on the shelf, but really reading it through with your association is, does, and say. The collateral. It's very key to have diversity as an active part. There is a sample question somewhere that talks about being really key to attracting members. When you're communicating with members, making obvious should be clear, consistent. There's a lot of talk about being transparent. A variety of forms of communication, much more electronic, but we always can have that happen in various ways. And think as you can about targeting different segments of your members in your communication. Segment process a lot is very key. Member privacy anywhere is an increasing need for all of us. An association should have a privacy policy. Personal information of members is the obvious points that you don't want to give out, and we're all surrounded by efforts for people to get at it. And there's stuff in the news a lot. Offer choices, offer opt-in and opt-out choices, so members don't get what they don't want to get, and they get what they want to get, and they don't have to worry about their personal information being abused. Recognition and awards for members, for volunteers, really for anybody who has done something you want to thank them for, you want to celebrate accomplishments, whether it's volunteers or members who get 10 years, 50 years, whatever, 10 years. That creates pride and loyalty. I remember working in a smaller regional association some years back, and we would profile members. We started profiling members in our monthly newsletter, which was actually connected to. We had senior Wall Street practitioners just going nuts on the profile them, and these senior people were asking for 10 print copies to send to their mother, their aunt, their grandmother, and everybody else. This also recognition of rewards may be done with awards, certificates, thank you letters, newsletter profiles, verbal recognition at meetings, or verbal recognition any which way. And also in the reading, it talks about how this furthers your programs, or should further your programs and your strategic plans. Help create get to your goals and support your mission. And so back to the thought of antitrust, which isn't really key in this domain, but addressing what is available to non-members. The reading actually says some services. It's really not 100%, but it's most services must be available to non-members on request, especially if competitive factors come into play here, because you don't want to be giving advantages to members, but you need to have non-members have access to that information. Otherwise, it's potential restraint of trade. Doesn't have the association doesn't have to promote it, advertise it to non-members, but it has to be available. So if it becomes your recipe, you have to set up something that you can be given access. Costs may apply, they can be non-members, but they need to have Mark Levin talks up a lot in the readings, and I've heard him speak, and he certainly grew on the topic. 6 steps for recruiting and retaining in the 21st century. Recruiting and retaining members. Understand the new marketplace, whether you want to define it, and deal with it, what it is. The market is what the market is today. It's not the way the association would have gone 20 years ago. Invest in technology. Use it to recruit and retain. Do everything else the organization is doing with their activities. Use technology wisely. And customization is a huge theme. We don't just have one message for everybody. Human touch matters hugely, whether it's in every factor of what you do, not just the official customer service department. Look at your branding and create a member experience. lot of websites have, my sort of a my experience button on them. In my case, it would be your my ATS button, etc. So it seems personal and attractive to them.
You'll keep it there.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay.
Do you find a way to like print print a version of it to store it and read out and really quick test the control speech?
I've done it. I think I've done it. Save as PDF.
I haven't. That's what we got. Is that like just a right now for the PDF?
to the department.
A blanket statement that's given that for other considerations of the and this question that I was made, I read very clearly statute or doing so you know be it the right I suggest that you look for those types of words because they do sometimes help bleed out. Sometimes it's like a statement will highlight but maybe not right. Thank you, Matt. Question I can see because board of directors make the ethical and disciplinary decisions that makes no sense to me than empowering other people who are not on the board to do that. But that's all work. You're right, that is concerning. So thank you. I was going to ask how do you know why and
If people on the ball let you know that your association had a ethics mine does not that way, but you may be.
mine does not. Maybe that's why this one is so great.
Exactly, it's supposed to be just, yeah, something like that. I said yes on there. You draft somebody professionally with your association because that's relatively new. And I think that, type of committee comes out of validation. It's not a requirement, it's just an association. So, yeah, modification. Okay. To communicate and educate an association members on ethical standards, what of those choices would be necessary? How do we communicate on this with our members? Do you have anything? Let's see, answer A. Physical safety. Safety. Any others? I have trouble with this one too. So the answer is C. Explain the association's code of ethical behavior and applications that we know is wrong. It actually wasn't the answer on the initial test. I don't know that that's a good thing to do. You can say about that.
Well, what I would say is that the practice question I collected and collected one and two, and it's something that I went back to that I didn't know that stood out to me was the publicizing meetings that generally hiring and the ethics committee is generally a small collective committee. So that helps me to stay away from that answer because, we often the reading process, parents reading and having that transparency letter making the decision public, and that is a good answer. Publicizing the meeting, I think that's we want to avoid. And in a separate paragraph, we talked about the correct answer. as a way of not just saying, here's what our the person, but the three of them every time that we have a goal of that. I don't know if that helps at all. I think,
Yeah. I think I picked B initially. I think with A, I'm going to consider a strong member. I don't know that that is right for the membership usually. I don't think that's appropriate. But also, with the correct answer C, we have a proposed ethical behavior, but I think in the readings it talks about to what extent are you going to enforce that. We do not currently have that. Something you have to specify in our application, which is probably clear, but might be doing. Again, I kind of have background knowledge for this.
I can speak a little bit to when I was B is just very clear, it's not very answer, but A and B for me is ethics of ethically making decisions that are important. It's not something that should be publicized to our viewership or posted on the website in publications. This is a confidential sort of committee making these types of decisions. So it's not something that we're ready to share.
Again, I know this area is terrain for a lot of associations. Okay, this question. Good scenario. One of your first challenges in the new role as CSE of a large organization is a detailed analysis of membership. During the analysis, you notice the trend over the last 2 years showing a 38% decline in the renewal rate, 17% page 25 to 30. What is your best research option to analyze this challenge? What people read for public. Did you refer to yourself? Or should we go to the answer? We'll go to further. B like that? B is oh, B is what? Okay, let's go to the answer. Challenge here is a lot of these are valid answers that prompt me with a different question. The answer is C. Conduct research and analysis to identify the relative influence certain factors have on the member renewal decision. It's the redesign question string. The issue they're having is a problem with a renewal rate. So answer choice A is talking about a new member survey. That's not going to help you figure out what your renewal problem is. B is talking about why eligible prospects aren't, well, maybe that's a little bit ambiguous, but why they're rejecting the association. My interpretation of B, that point, is they're not joining. They're looking at the association but not joining. And yet the scenario is what's going on with the renewal rate of this group. But what A is looking at new members, and that's not what the client has. So he's looking at why Michael Forget is not joining. So that's why that's not really matched up with the scenario, which is a problem with renewal. C is looking at what's influencing people to renew or not. He is in there some, but he is the focus answer on the scenario. So the line is here.
Are you able to speak a little bit more about why B isn't correct? Because I look B and how I think B again.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Well, I would think we have my dog is a self-educate, in a way. And so sometimes, this is my interpretation how I could see, which is maybe already the bigger answer. So the bigger answer is C. I just noticed that D is the subset of it. But you're looking at with D, my dog, who's, looking at sex. But you specifically look at the rule rights, and we also read that in italics in the question, which it may not be on the thing. But the problem is in the rule rights. So, C is kind of the umbrella, I would say, of we find D, and that's why my word is done with the rule. Okay, anybody?
Yeah.
But really what he is doing is identifying the negatives that are underserved, but it's not finding a lot of them. So that's
Oh, yeah.
and so, it's something that we really want to do, but it's not speaking directly to the client.
That's, yeah, that's
Okay, so this is the one that will be reinforcement and very helpful. Example, having not been used inside the CAE, which I'm sure everybody is moving more towards in their study. Think in general terms, whether with the size and type of association. Think members to members, staff to staff, board to board, a lot of key communications that need to be had, especially when they come up sessions with the board part. In particular, I've seen it say, no, the CFD shouldn't try to find the best way to go about a problem. The board president should talk to the board people about a problem. But I've seen a lot of the leaders here, CFD that they don't need to the right people to get vulnerability for them, but that end-to-end has to happen via the crazy open order in the session. Next, consider the possibility of the enforcement that cost is not acting, and it's the setting of earlier what we think about this. Choose the most right answer. There's sometimes answers that probably wouldn't be like practical data questions. I've heard about it primarily with down to 2 choices, and then 6 which might be individual. That doesn't justify helping. This is the 89 has to opportunities, and so when it's evaluate is just so key. It's got expected questions that are coming from that's used by the leading to a conduct. And what you can start changing this term, but use it when evaluating the results. And I don't feel that quite as much to is it legal? And which I think these are in the order, and so in the order is important. Once ago, is it legal? And I think that kind of belongs to the risk service condition. Is it ethical? Is it reasonable and relational, or is it practical? And this is a very key hierarchy for that person. And also, studying look at the structure of the question. Look for those keywords, and on the exam, we can write on the exam itself to help that help the minutes to be mental. Because we want to be answers that are correct, but not that are present. And that's sort of the fall time. We want to look at the keywords, what are the options, bring it down to two answers, what's most correct. My term is what's the bigger answer in some cases that helps separate what's most correct. For the CAE question. And then there was two questions to the question. These are our questions that we overstated. Watch for the clues such as what on prior slides. What is the trigger word? What's the best option? What's the first action that you need to take in a structural solution? And I also always thinking of the employee whenever it's applied, whenever we're not that specialist. This is the one that there was a whole page on some of the books, a chart of these two places we think both need to be done, and this is going to be CSE doing a lot of system thinking, big picture, whole, circular, solution seeking all, and the CSE is the amount of thought person over all the departments, and needs to think that the national picture is here, which most we have done have that special role. The reading list, as many of you already know, these are some of the chapters that are key in the professional practices book, the law book, and the membership essentials book. All of most of this was really designed towards the exam. Membership essentials is a very readable book. The Journey Back to Leadership, Chapter 4, talks about membership. Association exam, the notice on the first article and the parties over, it's kind of a fun exercise in my article that has two people weigh in and sort of group topics that show you their thoughts on the question. The CAE profile, if you have that, has about 20 pages that talk to this domain that are worth review in terms of that. And decision to join book, which came out of some AOC activities. Millennium membership, had a nice slide earlier on, recruitment and retention came from there, more pleasant stuff. There also has an article in the 2-3 months ago, an association news article, which previously online at that link, if you didn't get magazine. That's 4 pages by, I didn't put the name here, but right now, but she's a CAE and she's written a lot on membership. And this is on the slide with us, but also just every issue of associations now have been on page column on membership, it's called membership development. And coming up, this slide is 2 fast tracks. You haven't done these. Started thinking about taking this exam earlier this year, and in time to sit in on the franchise that were done in the spring. And what they are, if you have this familiarity with them, is it's just it's like a blog, which is posted for 3 hours on the collaborate site. And for 3 hours, basically, candidates will just check out the questions and where the recipient will with there. And ultimately, I was able to print out the questions, pages for each of those. And you can color it, you can just pick these down and just say, oh, it's all about the time, so I'll make sure you do that. I'll make sure you review that. It's like a general statement or whatever. Great stuff. So, there's 2 different dates. There may be repetition, but there may be complementary information. And what I did was I stayed at work and I just watched these chats happen. I came back and looked at them every now and then and differently. So it's a really great resource. So it's fabulous. And we just want to wish everybody all of us well.
Okay. We decided to not have our team meeting we decided not to have our team meeting next week, right, on Tuesday.
I thought we were.
I thought you sent an email saying because it would be right before annual we could do it, but now we'll do it.
Later.
Okay, it doesn't matter either way. I just, the only time I could get an appointment for my car to be so